Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradari Yashodanandana Braja Jalaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jalaranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Radha Madhava Punjabi Hari Jaya Radha Madhava Punjabi Hari Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradari Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradari Yashodanandana Braja Jalaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jalaranjana Amira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Punjabi Hari Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayet Nastaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavad Yutamashloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam. This is Canto 2, Chapter 2, Text 33. Nahyatonya Shiva Panta Vishata Samsrita Viha Vasudeve Bhagavati Bhakti Yogo Yato Bhavet Nahyatonya Shiva Panta Vishata samsrita viha Vasudeve Bhagavati Bhakti Yogo Yato Bhavet Nahyato Ya Shiva Panta Vishita Samsrita Viha Vasudeve Bhagavati Bhakti Yogo Yato Bhavet
Nayatonya Shiva Panta
Nahyato Shiva Panta
Vishita Samsrita Viha
Vishita Samsrita Viha
Vasudeve Bhagavati
Vasudeve Bhagavati
Bhakti Yoga Yato Bhave
Bhakti Yogo Yato Bhavet Na Never He Certainly Ata Beyond this Anya Any other Shiva Auspicious Panta means Vishita wandering Samsrita in the material world Iha in this life Vasudeva unto Lord Vasudeva Krishna Bhagavati the personality of God Bhakti Yoga direct devotional service Yata wherein Bhavet may result in Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. For those who are wandering in the material universe, there is no more auspicious means of deliverance than what is aimed at in the direct devotional service of Lord Krishna. Purport. As will be clarified in the next verse, devotional service or direct bhakti yoga is the only absolute and auspicious means of deliverance from the grip of material existence. There are many indirect methods for deliverance from the clutches of material existence, but none of them is as easy and auspicious as bhakti yoga. The means of jnana and yoga and other allied disciplines are not independent in delivering a performer. Such activities help one to reach the stage of bhakti yoga after many, many years. In the Bhagavad Gita 12.5, it is said that those who are attached to the impersonal feature of the Absolute are liable to many troubles in the pursuit of their desired goal, and the empirist philosophers searching after the absolute truth realize the importance of Vasudeva realization as all in all after many, many births. Bhagavad Gita 7.19. As far as yoga systems are concerned, it is also said in the Bhagavad Gita 6.47 that amongst the mystics who pursue the absolute truth, the one who is always engaged in the service of the Lord is the greatest of all. And the last instruction in the Bhagavad Gita 18.66 advises fully surrendering unto the Lord, leaving aside all other engagements or different processes for self-realization and liberation from material bondage. And the purport of all Vedic literatures is to induce one to accept the transcendental loving service of the Lord by all means. As already explained in the texts of Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, either direct bhakti yoga or the means which ultimately culminate in bhakti yoga without any tinge of fruitive activity constitutes the highest form of religion. Everything else is simply a waste of time for the performer. Srila Sridhar Swami and all other acharyas like Jiva Goswami agree that Bhakti Yoga is not only easy, simple, natural, and free from trouble, but is the only source of happiness for the human being. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yat Kripatamaham Bande Shri Gurum Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishvaram Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Eva Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. For those who are wandering in the material universe, there is no more auspicious means of deliverance than what is aimed at in the direct devotional service of Lord Krishna. In the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna says, Manushyanam sahasreshu kaschid yatati siddhaye yatatam api siddhanam kaschin mam veti tatvataha. That's a small percentage of people are looking for truth. And we experience it every day. We go on Sankirtan. And by and large, people are not interested. People are just tightly under the grip of the illusory energy, thinking, I'm this body, and the goal of life is somehow to be happy in this world. Very rarely someone becomes thoughtful and thinks, wait a minute, is there something higher to life? Is there a higher purpose? What is that higher purpose? And then pursues that higher purpose sincerely. It's very rare. Most people are just lost. Brahmanda Brahmite Kona Bhagyavan Jeev Guru Krishna Prasade Pai Bhakti Lata Bij. Brahmanda Brahmite Kona. Yeah, just wandering aimlessly, imagining this is the goal of life. That's the goal of life. And they're miseducated from the beginning of life. You come out of the womb and immediately the process of miseducation begins. The parents, they miseducate the children with the best of intentions. It's not that the parents have ill intention towards the kid, the best of intentions, right? I want my son, my daughter to be happy. And then they miseducate the kid, telling him, yes, you have to get ahead in life. This is the path to progress. You have to become well educated. And what is the result of that well educated? Is that a person understands nothing. They understand nothing. That's important. They understand a bunch of trivial stuff, and they just have a false sense of being educated. Like you see people who are very intelligent, can speak very nicely. They know so much, but it's all irrelevant knowledge because none of that knowledge can solve the problems of life, right? That's the thing. The classic example, it's an old example, but it's a classic, the boatman and the scholar. No, that's not the, yeah, the boatman and the scholar. Boatman was a simple person. And sometimes you see it in Mayapur. The boatman is passing by on the river Ganga. You're taking your bath. And he's a fisherman. It's not a very high profession. It's not a nice profession, killing fish. But he's a devotee. Somehow he's a devotee. He's a resident of the Dham. He's finished his day of fishing, and he's singing Hare Krishna. So in this story, the boatman is not a fisherman. He's a boatman. He's taking people across the scholar gets onto the boat and starts asking him questions. What do you know about quantum physics? The boatman says, I don't know anything about quantum. 25% of your life is wasted. What do you know about advanced biology? Nothing. I don't know anything. 50% of your life is wasted. What's your understanding of world politics? Well, I don't follow world politics. 75% of your life is wasted. The storm comes, shakes the boat flips over, and the scholar is drowning. And help, help. Well, the boatman says, just swim to the shore. I don't know how to swim. 100% of your life is wasted. So so-called advancement of knowledge, so-called educated, the thing which we thought would bring us value and security and benefit. And it's not. It's a false promise. It doesn't bring any progress towards solving life's problems. There's not even an understanding of what life's problems are. People have an understanding of the temporary challenges that they face. People understand that, oh, I'm having some challenge with my relationships. Oh, my children are not growing up the way I wanted them to grow up. Oh, I'm being harassed by the government. I owe taxes. Oh, I've got some financial challenges. Oh, now suddenly I'm afflicted with some bodily challenges, health challenges. People understand these challenges. But the Shastra says, no, that's the real problem, is that the eternal soul is stuck in the cycle of birth and death. Who understands that? It's very rare that someone understands that. So all of this progress, all of this advancement of knowledge, all the scientific progress, all the medical progress, we're not against it. We're glad that there's medical progress so that when we have some problem with our body, with our teeth, whatever, we can go and they're not just going to pull out a wrench to pull out our teeth. They've got more advanced techniques. We're grateful for that. It has its place. But none of that knowledge is teaching how to solve life's problem, which is that we're stuck in the cycle of birth and death. Prabhupada would emphasize this again and again. So it's all just a false sense of advancement. And we see that as we're interacting with people. People have a sense that I'm successful. They're walking down the street and they're walking in a certain way, strutting down the street because they've achieved a certain level of success and society has told them that they're successful. And by the ordinary measures, they've become quite prosperous and people are confirming that you're successful because they're thinking, I would love to have what that person has. Oh, that person has a high position. They have a very fat bank account. Oh, look who they're walking with, a very attractive partner. Look at their children going to a prestigious college, prestigious university. So people have that sense that, yes, I'm doing fine. I'm succeeding. In the Bhagavad Gita, 11th chapter, maybe I said it already. I was on Sankirtan and I was looking for some inspirational verse from the Gita. So let me just open up the Gita randomly and see what comes up. I opened up to the 11th chapter, which is a description of the material world. That's what the 11th chapter is, the universal form. It's a description. And what did Arjuna see? He saw all living entities flying into a fire, just like moths going into a fire. Yes, that's what the situation is. That person who's strutting down the street thinking, yeah, I'm doing good. I can go to any restaurant I want with no concern for what the bill is. Irrelevant to me. I can shop anywhere. I can travel anywhere I want. I've got it made. But it's just a moth and about to enter into the flames. And what is the next life? Not auspicious. Next life is typically not auspicious because people are engaged in sinful activities, and the result of those sinful activities is future suffering. Sometimes we meet people from Hindu backgrounds, and He said, please take the book. And they said, I can't touch the book. I'm like, what do they say? Why can't they touch the book?
Just been eating.
They've just been eating meat. They know it's wrong. They know it's, so they're even held more accountable, unfortunately. Yeah. The people who are ignorant, well, Krishna takes that into consideration. This person actually doesn't know. They still suffer some karmic consequence for educational purposes. But the person who knows, who's been educated, and is willfully doing it, it's not that out of weakness, it's not out of weakness. Sometimes the senses push so hard, the mind pushes so hard that a person falls victim to the mind and senses. No, willfully. Because now we're in America, we have money, everyone else is doing it, and because of bad association, they're engaged in those. So-called success, and it appears to be a good life, a successful life. And the one that is up today is down tomorrow in a very wretched condition of life. Most unfortunate. So the Vedas are prescribing the different processes of making progress, actual progress. All of this stuff that's happening in ordinary life that appears to be progress. I'm going to the gym, I'm building up my body, I'm educating myself, I'm furthering my career, I'm blah, 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 blah. None of it is progress. None of it's progress. It all ends with nothing, with no tangible benefit, because it's all based on the body. And whatever's based on the body is gone with the body. But the Vedas are prescribing activities which bring tangible progress, which somehow add some benefit for the soul. So there's different paths which are prescribed. Some of the paths are not at all relevant. You read about it, you're like, why am I even, what relevance does the path of yoga, Ashtanga yoga, have for the modern day? Who's going to do it? No one's going to do it. No one wants to accept any type of discipline, any type of restriction. What to speak of the restrictions which are described in the Ashtanga yoga system? Going off into seclusion, eating roots and berries, living in isolation, strictly controlling the mind and the senses, no interaction with other people, nothing, no nice music, no nice dancing, no nice food, nothing to gratify the senses. Yes, just eyes half closed for a long period of time, engaged in the gradual process of controlling the body, controlling the mind, and eventually through a very long, arduous process, coming to the point of samadhi. How long it takes? What did they say? 60,000 years. That wasn't it? I'm not making that up, right? It was for a previous age. It was for Satya Yuga, 60,000 years. Sit for 15 minutes is difficult. For an hour is difficult. Right? I meet people all the time. Are you practicing meditation? Yeah, I'm practicing. Is it difficult? Yeah, it's really difficult. Why? Because they're practicing. They're trying to sit, sit and just in a fixed position. And then suddenly they realize more acutely the condition of their mind. As they're running around life, driving in their car, listening to music, engaging their senses, going shopping, going to work, then they don't notice the condition of their mind. But then suddenly, when you sit down firmly, and you just sit and you just try to, then you realize, oh my God, my mind is constantly racing. It's always moving, always disturbed. It's never peaceful. Manda sumanda matayo, manda bhagya hupadrutaha. This is the quality of the age of Kali. Everyone's mind is completely disturbed. I remember when I just joined the temple, I was walking on the boardwalk in Miami Beach, and I was chanting my rounds very, very loudly, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. And then I had a moment, I think it might have been 1 second, maybe 1.5 seconds, where my mind went totally peaceful, completely peaceful. And it wasn't moving at all. It was just calm. And I'd never experienced that before. And then it went away. Literally 1.5 seconds of just silence of the mind, complete silence, you know? It was something like Brahmabhuta. I don't think I was experiencing Brahmabhuta, but something like that. I was completely peaceful. And the contrast was so, we're just accustomed. We're just accustomed to suffering. Hmm? Therefore, you go to the hospital and the man's suffering 104-degree fever, 104, and then the fever goes down to 102. How are you feeling? I'm feeling pretty good. Why? Because the fever has gone down. It's still sick. So it's varying degrees of suffering. That's all it is. And when the suffering is reduced a little bit, a person thinks, oh, I'm doing pretty good, like that. But no one understands what good is. No one has any clue what happiness is. No clue at all. And therefore, Prabhupada, he says very, very clearly, very strongly, I mean, you almost laugh when you read it because Prabhupada is so Prabhupada speaks like nobody else speaks. Yes? You can read books from so many spiritual teachers. No one speaks like Prabhupada. There is no happiness at all in the material world. Oh, there's no happiness? Isn't this happiness? When I'm on a beach somewhere, walking, strolling, there's no happiness at all. Because Prabhupada is talking about the real happiness of the soul in connection with Rama, with the source of all happiness. Ramante yogino anante, satyananda chidatmani, iti Rama padena asau, param brahma vidiyate. Those who are purified souls, they're the connoisseurs of happiness because they're connected to the source of all ecstasy, all bliss. They know what real happiness is. And what's the evidence? What's the proof? The proof is that they've renounced the material world. That's the proof. The thing which everyone is so interested in, money, women, prestige, position, blah, 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 blah. They have zero interest in it. None. It doesn't pull their senses. It doesn't pull their mind. It has no appeal for them at all. Prabhupada, in that poem, he says that by the grace of Krishna, it has all become tasteless to me now, right? What did he say? Krishna has shown me the naked form of material nature. The veil has been lifted. The illusion has been lifted, like that. Even as we're practicing Krishna consciousness, we have that theoretical understanding. I get it. It's illusion. What is it? What's the highest pleasure? Sex pleasure. That's the highest thing in the mature world. That's what's making the world spin. And theoretically, we get it. We get it. What is that body? That's nonsense. The insignificant body. Just a body. It's a skin bag filled with a bunch of obnoxious elements, right? Good theoretical understanding. But Krishna consciousness, by Krishna's grace, a soul can come to the point where actually the attraction is gone. That'd be very nice. Then there's no more struggle. There's just a spontaneous attraction to the beauty of Krishna. Because Krishna is unlimitedly enchanting and beautiful. So the path of Ashtanga, who's going to practice that? And then what's being described here, the path of Gyan, dry process, unnatural process, a legitimate process. It's a legitimate practice as long as it's done properly. Not this nonsense Mayavad philosophy that Krishna is illusion. This is not the proper understanding. Yeah? Brahmavad is a legitimate path. Jnana Yoga is a legitimate path with the understanding this material world is miserable. We're not the body. The goal of life is moksha. Get out of the material world. And okay, you don't want to live in the material world. You can try to merge into the impersonal Brahman. It's not perfection. Yenyera vindaksha vimuktamaninas. It's not a fixed position, but it's a legitimate path to be a Brahmavadi. Not the Mayavadis. The Mayavadis are offenders because they say that Krishna is illusion. And therefore Prabhupada was totally intolerant of the Mayavadis. He didn't care for public opinion. He spoke so strongly. In India, the people in India, they have such a sense of discrimination when it comes to material things. Let's say modern India. They know exactly the status of every university. And if my son gets into this university, it's a little bit more prestigious. Very good. If you ask them what's happening in the market, they have their thumb on the pulse. They know what's happening in the market. They know what's the best investments. They're very tuned into the educated class in India, very tuned in. Strong sense of discrimination, right? When it comes to spiritual things, all discrimination thrown out the window. They sit there, they hear one Swami speak Mayavad philosophy. 20 minutes later, they hear a Vaishnava speak pure Vaishnava theology, opposite messages, and they shake their head. Very nice. All good. Everything good. They've been polluted by this impersonal concept like that. So Prabhupada was totally uncompromising, so attractive, sitting there in a big mela, thousands of people in the audience, and Prabhupada is there with his disciples, and then his eyes are closed, he's chanting Hare Krishna, and some Mayavadi is giving his presentation, and then the Mayavadi is talking in Hindi, talking. Suddenly Prabhupada opens his eyes and looks at his disciples and says, "Stop it." It's like Brother Prabhu was explaining. He didn't know what to do. What am I supposed to do? Hit the guy with my wampus? He didn't know what to do. And Prabhupada, have kirtan. In the middle of the guy's lecture, in front of thousands of people, the devotees stand up and start having kirtan. Totally disrupt his lecture. Prabhupada didn't care. He couldn't tolerate it, that this person is speaking against Krishna and misleading people. So-called guru, so-called teacher. Teacher means one who's lifting souls out of ignorance. The only ignorance is that the soul has forgotten that he's an eternal servant of Krishna. That's the only ignorance, nothing else. Because when you understand that, automatically you understand everything else. I'm a soul, I'm not a body. And my position as a soul is clear. I'm a loving servant of Krishna. So here, this is what's being glorified here, is the path of bhakti. The path, the simple path of bhakti. Come back to this understanding. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says that if someone can simply understand this one thing, that I'm a humble servant of God, humble servant of Krishna, what happens? All his sufferings are gone. He stops suffering because he knows, I'm a servant of Krishna. Krishna is my protector. Krishna is my maintainer. Krishna is my friend. A person becomes fearless, walks through life with complete security, complete confidence. Simply to understand that. I was reading in this Radha Damodar Vilas, a wonderful book, just a wonderful book. And Prabhupada says that if you can turn one person to Krishna consciousness, you will go back to Godhead. So it was a very encouraging statement, super encouraging. Because sometimes it feels like, my God, I think I'm doing my best here. I'm trying, I'm fighting, I'm doing my best to become Krishna conscious. What's going on? Why am I not, experiencing a greater fruit? Not to be ungrateful, but sometimes that thought comes in the mind. But Krishna has a stockpile of mercy and a stockpile of appreciation for the devotees and for their efforts. He has a stockpile of appreciation that he hasn't given yet. Prabhupada was expressing the nature of Krishna, and he said that Krishna is feeding all of the animals, the elephants and the ants. He's maintaining all living creatures. Prabhupada said, do you think if you become Krishna's servant, he won't maintain you? And Prabhu said, do you think Krishna is ungrateful? So what to speak if someone is trying to help other living entities come back to Krishna? How much Krishna is appreciative of that? How much Srimati Radharani is appreciative of that? The gopis say it. What is the verse? Tava katamritam tapta jivanam kavibir iritam kalmashapaham bhuvigranantaye burida jana. Burida jana, isn't it? Yeah. What's the last line? Shravana mangalam Srimad bhuvigranantaye burida jana. The gopis say that this hearing and chanting of the glories of Krishna, this is the remedy, this is the panacea, this is the nectar which satisfies the soul. And then the gopis are glorifying those who are spreading the message of Godhead, who are helping souls to come back to Krishna. So what to speak of Krishna? Srimati Radharani is so appreciative of someone who's trying to help souls come back to Krishna. So that's our business. Our business is somehow or other to be praying to Krishna. Krishna, please let me be your instrument. Let me speak in the right way. Let me act in the right way that other souls can be benefited. And how grateful Krishna is for that. How grateful Srimati Radharani is. How grateful Prabhupada is. How grateful Mahaprabhu is. And so how do they show their gratitude? They show their gratitude by blessing us. They give us what they have. What they have is prema. So one doesn't have to worry so much. One just has to endeavor to the best of their ability, and then Krishna will give his abundant mercy. And we'll be free from this mess, this burden, this trouble of material existence. It almost seems like almost like a fantasy that there's a life where there's no struggle, there's no suffering, there's no challenges. That is just enjoyment. Just enjoyment. It almost seems unreal because we're just so accustomed to material existence. And material existence just means it's trouble every step of the way. You know, you come out of the womb and for a little while you have no responsibilities, but you've got a lot of problems. And when you have kids, you realize that. Kid is like 1 year old. What problems should the kid have? He's like 1 year old or 6 months old. The teeth are coming out. And how do the teeth come out? They push through the skin. Ouch, it hurts. Why is the kid crying? You know, everything seems to be in place. Nothing wrong with their limbs. The kid's been fed. The teeth are pushing out. You know, like that. Every step of the way, there's some trouble, there's some pain. And now you become old enough, you want to play. Right? You can't play. You go to school, learn a bunch of stuff that you don't want to learn. Right? And that goes on for a long time. Okay, finally, I'm finished with school. Free from that burden. No, the trouble is just starting. Yeah? Trouble is just starting. Now work in the world. Work at a job you love. Ha, ha, ha. No! Work at a job that you don't love. 90-something% of people are obliged to work at a job they don't love. They have to do it. Have to do it just to maintain. Just to put food in the mouth and a roof over the head. Yeah? And just to have clothes to wear, and what to speak of maintaining a family. Work at a job you don't like. Most people. For how long? A couple of years. Anyone can tolerate, you know. If you think, well, how long do I have to do this thing that I don't want to do? Well, you're going to have to do it for the next 6 months. Okay, I think I can manage it. 30 years, maybe, huh? Could be 30 years. Grinding it, same thing in traffic, you know? Working at a job you don't like, connected to people you might not want to be around, to a boss that's not nice. That's your boss. And then you retire, and then you get old, your body breaks down, and you die. And everything you worked so hard for, nothing. You end up with nothing, right? So the path of bhakti is the meaningful existence. And when people come to read the books, and when it clicks for them, you know, suddenly that light bulb goes off in there above their head. Like, oh, I get it. I get it. The purpose of life. Here's something worth endeavoring for. Before I came to Krishna consciousness, I wasn't motivated at all. I wasn't motivated. I went to university. I wasn't motivated to study. Okay, maybe I was lazy. That could be part of it. But also part of it was just nothing motivated me. I don't get it. What's the point of working so hard for this? But when I came to Krishna consciousness, okay, here's something. Here's something worth working for. I'm willing to accept trouble for this purpose of pleasing Prabhupada, who's given me so much, this purpose of elevating my consciousness, this purpose of going back to Godhead. Here's something worth endeavoring for. When you know the goal of life, then you suddenly think, okay, that's nice. It's nice to know what the goal of life is. Otherwise, people have some sense, some very distinct sense that I've accomplished the things I wanted to accomplish. I seem to have ticked off a lot of the boxes. Why am I feeling so incomplete? Why am I feeling like I missed the mark, right? What's going on? I don't think I've accomplished it. I don't think I've achieved the goal of life. I have a very strong, distinct sense that I didn't get it right, because they didn't get it right. They endeavored for something which is illusory. So Prabhupada relieves us of all of that angst, all of that anxiety. He clearly says to us again and again, reminds us again and again, here's the goal of life, here's how to achieve it, keep fighting, keep pushing forward, right? And the day will come when we'll be in the presence of Krishna, and then one is not satisfied. One is so far beyond satisfied. One is plunged into an ocean of happiness. And that ocean of happiness never ends. It expands unlimitedly, which is inconceivable. But that's spiritual life. And that's the life of the soul. Connection with the unlimited reservoir of beauty and knowledge and sweetness and kindness and love. That's our destination. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Any questions or comments? Nothing from our online audience. Thank you very much.
So, say about Jnana, you said it's a bona fide path.
Yeah.
So, did you say
Jnana, karma,
if
jnana, kanda section of the Vedas.
as you mentioned, impersonal revelation is not the goal, then what is the goal for Jnana?
Jnana is supposed to be a stepping stone. It's all stepping stones to perfection. Yeah? Karma means at least don't be an animal. Karma means act within the prescriptions offered within the Vedic literatures, karma kanda. You have desires, fine. Fulfill your desires through these rituals, through these yagyas, right? And then eventually you come to understand, oh, this is not it. I'm not satisfied. And the priest says, yeah, there's a higher purpose than that, right? So jnana kanda section of the Vedas. The goal is to get free from this material existence, because Shine punya martya lokam vishanti. Even if you achieve the best thing in karma, going to the heavenly planets, you fall again. You have to get out of the material world, right? So you engage in the cultivation of knowledge, understanding that you're a soul, understanding that there's a supreme absolute truth. And the goal of life is to liberate yourself from all of this trouble. And then, as you become purified, you're not supposed to stop there. You're supposed to come to the understanding that the absolute truth has a personal aspect also, and that your position is as a humble servant of God. But people can get stuck anywhere along the path, yeah, based on their desire. But if someone is sincere, someone is sincerely seeking perfection, sincerely seeking the truth, okay, I want the truth, even if it means I'm a servant of God, even if it means that, which I've been so averse to for so long, then Krishna will arrange that you come in contact with a pure devotee. And because you don't have an aversion to the principle, okay, I'm open to the truth, right? then when the pure devotee speaks, or you come in contact with the Leela of Krishna, or in this case of the four Kumaras, they came in contact with the fragrance from the tulsi that were at the lotus feet of Krishna, or Shukadev Goswami, he was a Brahmavadi. He came in contact with the Leelas of Krishna, hearing about the qualities and beauty of Krishna, then you become attracted like that. So these are stepping stones on the path to bhakti, on the path to perfection. But at any step along the way, you can become stuck if you're not serious and sincere. Yeah. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Govinda.